Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And today I get to spend time with my friend Cam Rodeck, who is a senior business analyst and an operational director. And he's currently in job transition. And so we're going to spend some time talking about his superpower and his journey. Welcome to the show, Cam.
Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate the opportunity. It's great to get another chance to connect and chat with you. Love spending time talking.
Dude, we have a good time every time. And part of it is you're just such a humble, personable, kind dude. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Well, I'm honored. I think when you meet someone, one of the first questions they ask you is, "Hey, so tell me about your dream."
Yeah.
When you told me that, I thought, "All right, this is I like this. This is an intentional, thoughtful man." So grateful for the opportunity to chat today.
Well, you've taken you've been reading the Superpower Quest book,
Yes.
and you've been going on the Superpower Quest, taking the journey, and you've even gotten to the place where you've created a superpower statement, which is, I mean, that like that. You want to take the power of the book and really distill it down. If you get to that point, you've really got something, right? Because it's a funnel. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I think what's amazing about it is I've done a lot of personality, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Strength Finder, Enneagram, really helpful tools in understanding who you are. But what I loved about the Superpower Quest is that focus and the way that you really kind of help people step and get more granular and more specific. And I think it's been really helpful as I've been in career transition to really think about what is that superpower, and how can I distill it into something that's really concise, but that really encapsulates, yeah, this is my wiring harness. This is what I was designed for.
Yeah, you get out of it what you put in, and you've obviously just put in the time, which I commend you for, and you've come up with a superpower statement, which I think is amazing. Let's just talk it down. So your core drive is progress, right? So you want forward motion and momentum. You like
Yes.
movement. Your primary hero type is achiever, which means you're a finisher. You've got tenacity and drive. And then behind that is the organizer, which means you have systems and plans and structures. You're an orderly thinker and an orderly executor. So I love that gift personally. I am surrounded with that gift. I'm a CEO of a company, and I literally can't do my job without people like you around me. I can't.
People like me need a good like visionary leader to have a charge to go after so that we can tear after it.
Yeah.
So yeah, both types super important and super necessary.
Yes. Yep. 100%, man. So yeah, I have such a value for the gift that you have. But you actually went down the ladder and you came out with a superpower statement,
Yes.
which is that distilled sentence. Can you tell us what that distilled sentence is of what your superpower is?
Yes, absolutely. So my superpower is personable, conscientious achiever for meaningful impact.
Dude, I love it so much. It moves me to hear somebody get to that level of clarity about how they work, right? Because if it has to do with being personable, conscientious, and achieving for meaningful impact, you're going to be effective at it, right? Like
Yes.
when you step into those roles, you tend to
Yes.
win.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, now
Yeah.
the trouble is that life sometimes we step into so many different roles, and a lot of times it's a mismatch, and we end up feeling friction. But when you can get into your sweet spot, that's where you really start to fly.
Absolutely. I agree. For sure.
So tell us about what that means, and maybe even your what you discovered about yourself that led you to that statement.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I kind of think of kind of unpacking it, I love how in the book you really kind of talk about like, hey, every word is valuable and is meaningful. So kind of choose wisely. And so when I kind of look at my superpower statement, Johnny, it starts with personable. Like I love people. I love deep, meaningful relationships. I've had the opportunity in my life to be in spaces where I've experienced that, and so I know what that's like. And when I am in that groove where there's the opportunity to build those encouraging, deep, meaningful relationships, I just thrive. So I don't want to just keep it surface level. I want to go deeper, and so that looks like building rapport. That looks like remembering little details about people and asking them about that. I know when I come across someone and they do that for me, it kind of always catches me off guard. So that's something that I strive to do is try to remember that detail. What's somebody passionate about that maybe they just mentioned that I can bring up. I think the other part of that is being an encourager, and so being someone that is likable, that people want to spend time around. And as I've been in career opportunities where there's been time to foster those bonds and those relationships, I think it helps with the work product as well.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of the very first word, that personable part. And then conscientious, it's an interesting word, but there's so many parts to that.
Yeah.
There's this element of responsibility and reliability, diligence and hard work, being goal oriented. So I am someone, and that kind of goes along with the next piece, which is the achiever. I'm someone that wants to drive results. I want to accomplish. I want to achieve. But I really want to do that with excellence. So I'm not just race through it and, well, if we missed 40% of it, hey, at least it's done. I really want to complete it, and I want to really do it with a high degree of excellence. And I think conscientious really wraps that up. And
So
then
good, bro.
yeah, and then kind of the end of that, the last phrase about like what's it all for me, I just started really thinking about kind of the end stage, and I think part of me wanted to put results in there because I'm like, I'm a results guy, I'm a results guy. But one of the things that I've learned in life is that I cannot always control the results as much as I would like to, but I can control how I show up. I can control how I respond, and I'm learning. I'm by no means there yet, but I'm learning that I have a stake in how I respond. And so when I think about meaningful impact, I not only think about I want the work I do to matter. If
Yes.
I someone asked me recently, well, Kim, if you did the greatest project, but like nobody ever used it or it didn't have any kind of an impact, like how would that make you feel? And I just thought I wouldn't make me feel great at all. Like
Yes.
I want to build something great, but I want it to actually be meaningful and useful. And so that's one component of it is I want the work to be valuable and useful and to have a positive impact. But I also want the way that I go about doing that to be in a way that builds those relationships. And so that's how I kind of ended up with that meaningful impact. And I think it's bigger than just the bottom line. I'm come out of an accounting background, and so numbers and the finance piece really does matter. Like that's important, but there are also people that are involved, relationships that are involved. It's not just about the end dollar thing. There are bigger things, and I think meaningful impact ties into that.
Okay. So, Cam, you're a bit of a unicorn in some ways. I do enough of this where I meet a lot of people, and I have just this deep appreciation for the special gifts that have been placed inside each person. I mean, every person is a gift in some way. Now, many of us can't see it, many of us aren't in touch with it, but we are. Everybody has a very special gift inside of them. What I see for you and it's contained in your superpower statement. I know a lot of um, organizer achievers and achiever organizers. They can tend to be very task focused and to the detriment of being relationship focused, right? Like that's just a
Yes.
weakness that goes with the strength. You have those executional and organizational capabilities at a very high level, but also a deep relational sense, which I've experienced in interacting with you. You really make people feel at ease. You make people feel comfortable. You show care and concern for people. I mean, every time we have a conversation, you follow up with this massive email, which I read. It's massive in a good way because it's like it's pinpointing. Yeah, this is the stuff we talked about. This is how this registered with me. Thank you for spending the time with me. Like you express appreciation, and I can tell you, man, I've never met anybody who takes that kind of time consistently after a phone call or a meeting. And so you got something very special going on. And I understand you're gonna want to be a part of a team that's doing something meaningful, right? That's
Absolutely.
what you're looking for.
For sure.
And,
Yep.
and you want to lock arms and you want to have great relationships within that team. And then you want to just get stuff done, right?
Preach.
Yeah.
Right on. Yep.
You want to
Yep.
move the enterprise forward.
Absolutely. Yep, yep, absolutely. Yeah, results with trusted relationships, building those at the same time. I think that's an incredible combo, and that's kind of the wheelhouse where Cam just really
Yeah.
thrives.
Yeah. So can you tell me a bit more about your experience, right? So we understand, I think, a bit about your design at this point in your
Yeah,
superpower. Experience is going to be, what do you know? What do you know how to do, and what are the what work has formed you?
yeah,
Maybe get into that.
absolutely. Yeah, great question. Well, I had the privilege of growing up in beautiful Northwest Wyoming on a ranch, and so that was really formative in just a strong work ethic. Kind of ranch work life is there's usually not an end to it, and so grateful for the opportunity at an early age, really just to learn like what does it mean to work hard. So thankful to my parents for that. Then when I went away to college. Um, Went to a small liberal arts school called Hillsdale College, great education. But what was even better than the education was some deep relationships and friendships. And so that's really where I think that seed of relationship building and the importance of that got planted. So that was really formative just in realizing, man, relationships, people, that really, really matters and is a huge, huge part of my life. And then I started my career out in public accounting with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah.
So studied accounting, kind of got to dive into the Excel land and really just kind of fell in love with that tool and the power of it. And I think oftentimes people were like, man, Excel scares me. And I was like, oh, I must be a total nerd because I love it. Um, and so after my time in public accounting, I had a chance to do a couple other accounting roles with smaller type of entities, and I really discovered, man, I love actually helping smaller organizations leverage information to make decisions. So back in the day, I think when I was kind of in accounting world, a lot of it was a lot of rule based, looking back and reporting on kind of past. And I think I really started to realize I actually like kind of figuring out what do we do with that? Like, how do we move the business forward? And so I can see the thread when I eventually transitioned over into kind of data analytics. That's really largely about we have so much information that's captured and available, and I think the rate of information capture rate is just it's going through the roof. But then you have organizations that are like, we bought the latest and greatest CRM, ERP accounting system, but where's the actionable insights that we can actually use to make good decisions? And so I think that what I really discovered as a data analyst, that's a huge opportunity, is to say, yeah, we have tons of information. We can drown in it. We are drowning in it.
Yeah.
How do we make sense of that? And so I would really say that was a part of my career that I just found I loved because I could use spreadsheets and Excel, but it was really more about how do we take this information and how do we make KPIs and how do we build reporting tools that people can leverage to know how is the business doing, what do we need to focus on. Um, and then I also had a chance to be a part of a small three-person software startup, which I absolutely loved, and I got to kind of wear the operations role there. And so that was
Really?
do data and analysis stuff, but that was also like building a website, doing customer support, building demo videos, meeting with customers, figuring out what billing software do we want to use, what do we want to use for customer onboarding, and so that was how do we run Google AdWords and those kinds of things. So I've had a few different experiences in my career journey to this point, but I see that thread of turning kind of data into information and into insights and really executing. How do we take ideas that sound cool and how do we actually turn those into reality? So that's a little bit of my kind of background as it relates to kind of my professional journey.
I got a picture for. So you used the word love. You said you loved the work that you were doing when you were doing data analytics and answering the question, what do we do? And I had this picture in my mind of you kind of wading into these dark waters, like and going in, swimming around down there, and then coming out with a treasure chest, right? Like
Mm,
coming out
I
with
like that.
something. And so, you're not scared of the ocean of data you know what I mean? Like it would be overwhelming for a lot of people to be like, well, how do I take all this data from different sources and make some kind of a story out of it? That doesn't feel
Yeah.
overwhelming to you?
I think that's a great question. I think, Johnny, that there is an element when you start out with there feeling a sense of overwhelm, but I think that fear wants to stop us from doing probably anything meaningful in life. And so learning to press into that and press past that is really helpful. And I'm not perfect at that. That's an area that I think I will probably continue to grow in all my life. But really understanding, like, yeah, there are heaps and heaps of data, but if we can't understand and begin looking at, hey, let's let's look in this cave, let's look in that cave, and let's see what's there. If someone doesn't do that, then who knows? Maybe there is a huge treasure trove in one of those that will never be discovered. And so, yeah, I think that's part of the data world is being willing to press into some of the mess. And I think the thought is like, well, we have all the best systems, like it's just going to be easy. And I think the reality is like if it was easy, I don't think data analysts would have jobs. And so there is that there really can be that need to say, how do you press into that? How do you be uncomfortable with maybe the chaos that's there? And then part of that world is shaping and creating and cleaning data and some of those pieces that eventually lead you to an end product where maybe you have a beautiful Tableau dashboard that a leader can pull up and with 2-3 minutes be like, okay, great, now I have a pulse on what's happening.
Dude, I love it, man. So in the vision, direction, execution funnel, right, about how work gets done. You've got people at the top of the funnel, visionaries, big picture people, creative people looking off into the distance in the clouds. In the middle, you've got the direction people, which are like, okay, cloud person, we got to turn this into a plan. And right, they're creating the plans, the systems, the checklists, all the things to make action. It's the how, right? How is
Yeah.
this going to get done, right?
Yeah.
The visionary asks the big questions, like where are we going or why, or and that direction person is how, and then the execution person is like, let's get it done, let's go, let's
Yes.
go. Okay, I've got the plan, fine, give me the plan, but now I'm running 100 miles an hour to actually make the progress we need. You kind of live in the direction, between the direction and the execution areas of the
Yeah.
funnel,
Exactly.
right? And that even shows, right? Because you had so much joy swimming into those waters, coming out with the treasure chest, and the treasure chest was, what do we do?
Yeah.
Right? What do we do now? What story is the data telling us, and how do we proceed? How
Yep.
do we react, respond to what this is? And then you also love to be in the place where you're actually out moving the initiative forward.
Yep.
So that all makes sense. Anything else you would tell me about experience? The things that formed you. Is there a moment that you can think of where it's like, okay, I got this project and it lit me up and I learned something about myself?
Yeah. I think the one thing, Johnny, that maybe I would share is I had a really incredible leader. His name was Jesse, who really believed in me and really gave me opportunities to learn and grow. And I think was kind of an advocate, someone that was kind of um, sort of whispering, like, Cam, you got this. Like, let's press into this. And I just I want to encourage people that are in that season and have maybe somebody younger underneath them, the power that they have to speak life and
Mm,
growth, and open doors of opportunity, because Jesse absolutely did that for me. And then I also want to encourage those that are maybe listening to that voice to really press in and really learn. Not every role and not every job necessarily provides those opportunities, and so I'm super grateful for that experience. I've had a couple of really phenomenal leaders in my career, and those are super super powerful. So I want to just encourage
yeah.
people to lean into that, to
Yeah.
take advantage of that, and to say thanks
Yeah.
to those people, because that it really is a tremendous blessing.
Yeah, man, that's huge, and I've experienced that with you, man. Just the outpouring of gratitude that encourages me and makes me want to keep doing it more. I mean, this whole interview, man, hearing how you've engaged with the book. I mean, it's been emotional for me hearing that, right? Because
That's good. You put a lot of time into that. So that's awesome to be able to for you to get to hear some of the fruit of that hours and hours and hours of labor.
yes, yeah, it's been so encouraging, man. So you're in job transition at this point. Um, and can you tell us a little bit about what that experience has been like so far, like the good and the bad? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Well, I would say the good, one of the primary goods, has really been some time and some space to really think about what is my wiring harness, what are my gifts, and I think in the craze and busyness of life, sometimes it's just one thing to the next, the next, the next. No, very little down space, very little breathing room. And so this season has afforded me a chance to introspect a little bit more and to think and to have conversations and really to press into that. And I think that that's incredibly valuable, just in the space that I'm in right now, but also thinking about what's that right next opportunity to say yes to. So I think that's been really, really great. My wife has just been an amazing support and had just support of other people around me, which has been really, really encouraging, really a blessing. The hard side of it, Johnny, is it's hard to be in a season of uncertainty, and it's hard to know. You really could only be one next conversation away from the next great opportunity,
yeah,
but you never know where that one next
yes,
conversation is going to come from. So,
yes,
one of the things we share or we talked about in an earlier conversation was that notion of planting
yeah,
seeds and sowing seeds. And um, we know what my wife and I just recently put some flower bulbs in the ground, and you just put them in there and cover them up, and it's like I don't know what's going to happen, and then before long, some things start to just almost magically pop out of the ground, and it's really powerful. But we just don't know, as we seek to sow those seeds, like what's going to land and what's going to grow. And so I think learning to push past that discouragement, learning to push past the like, well, I've had some conversations and it's been good to catch up with people, but it hasn't really yielded. Hey, there's this great job at this great company. You need to be a great fit. Let me
yeah,
introduce you. Which I think maybe is a desire that someone has when they're in that season. And so I think just learning to press past that, maybe that discouragement of, oh, it's taking a long time, and really just trusting that we are where we are for a reason. Um, and so, yeah, there's some days where it's encouraging and exciting, and there's some days where it's hard. And I think it's good for people that are in transition to acknowledge both, because I think that's the reality.
yeah, man. That's so good. That's going to speak to people's hearts, I think. So, how do you maintain the posture of hope?
Hmm.
So, right, because you've got you got the hope tool set and the fear tool set, right? And I wrote about this today in on the Superpower Quest newsletter. The fear tool set makes us smaller. It
Hmm.
makes us, it shrinks us. We become less likely to risk, which we need to risk, right? It makes us less productive, less effective, more anxious, right? Uh, and so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I'm interacting with the world, because there's the same bad thing. There's there's a hard bad thing in front of you. It feels bad, right? Which is this uncertainty. Uh, and you can have a hope relationship with that thing or a fear relationship with that thing. And the hope tool set is different. It's got creativity in it. It's got problem solving in it. It's got confidence in it. It's got curiosity in it, right? Like that's all in the realm of hope. That's not in the realm of fear. When I'm afraid, I'm not curious
Yep.
about anything.
Yep.
So how do you fight that battle to stay in
Yeah.
hope?
Great question. Um, I think first and foremost, Johnny, I'm a person of faith. I'm a follower of Jesus. So my hope really, that's the anchor to my soul, and that's where I have to ground. And I still look at my story and I think, man, there's days where I struggle with that fear and with not having that hope. But I think ultimately, I have to anchor back to say, God made me, God's got me, and I need to put forth the work and the effort. It's not just sitting around, hoping that a job offer is going to get delivered by FedEx to my
Yeah.
door. But it's also saying, like, leaning into that and saying this is an opportunity for me to grow. So I heard someone once say that fear, that the acronym of FEAR could be false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And so, like, really kind of saying, okay, well, this is false evidence. Like, it's evidence. It feels like it's something, but it's false and it's appearing as real. Um, and so I think maybe reminding myself of that, and then also just saying, Cam, as you've looked back over your life experience, like when you've lived in fear, what's the fruit of that? Like, is that like a has there been good results that have come from that? Or and what about when you're hopeful? And so Johnny, I think that's one part of it. I think the other part of it is community, is having people in your corner that you can be real and open with about it's hard right now. Like I'm struggling, I'm discouraged. And those people can lift you up and can encourage you. And I know even a conversation we had maybe a month ago, you were just really encouraging me to think about, hey, you are you going to approach it with a hopeful perspective? Because we kind of get the choice of how we want to do that. And so I think that when you're in a tough season, when you're in transition, you need to surround
Yep.
yourself with a few people
Yep.
that can bolster you and can remind you of that when maybe it's hard to remember that yourself.
Yeah, man. That's so beautiful and wise. Um, so getting a little more tactical as we start to come to a close. What are the roles that you're actually looking for? So, and let me just give you some categories. So, are you looking for full-time employment, part-time employment, contract work, side hustle? Like, what's the what do you think is going to end up being your next thing that you're actively looking for?
Yeah, that's great. Well, I think probably the ideal would be a full time role. But in this season where I'm learning about myself and I'm exploring, I definitely would be open to contracting and to kind of part time work as well. I mean, I'm really excited about being a part of a great team, working with great people, solving interesting problems, executing. And so I think that that could look like a number of different things. And I really want to be open handed at this point, to really see and explore, because it's a journey. And I think sometimes the end can look really different than than we envision it. And so I think I'm trying to learn how to hold a little more loosely, to what could that look like. But what I really do want to make sure is happening is that I'm in a spot, whatever that looks like, where I really can use that personable, conscientious achiever for meaningful impact superpower that I have.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, well said, well stated. I've got a lot of respect for you, Cam. I think you've got a lot to offer the world. And I've experienced that firsthand in just the way that we've interacted over the past few months. And so I'm grateful for you. Thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Johnny. It's been a pleasure.
And for everybody who's watching, we're definitely here to encourage you and come alongside you. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Take care.